Yes, it's always been officially Blissful Valley Whole Food Co., and it's a sole proprietorship. The reason I started the Just Add Water baking mix line, which is our first line, is because I have a daughter who is a whole food plant-based eater, vegan eater, who was diagnosed several years ago with celiac disease. So now she was had to eat a gluten-free plant-based diet, which really limits you when you're working in small town Alberta, a different town every week. And she traveled as an actress and director for a theater company, and had to do a lot of scraping together of food or taking coolers of food. And so one day I said to her, would it be helpful if I developed a breakfast cookie that you could just add water and throw in a little toaster oven if you traveled with a toaster oven? She said, oh yeah, Mom, that'd be great. Let's give it a try. And so I did, and she loved it. And then and then I did a muffin after that, and that worked out really well. And so it provided her with some fresh, nutritious and delicious baking that she wouldn't otherwise have been able to enjoy. And then her friends really started loving it and asking if they could have some mixes too, and then it just grew from there. People just kept asking for them. Okay, so I've been a registered holistic nutritionist for over 20 years now, counseling people in dietary changes, focusing on whole food plant-based, as our new Canada Food Guide is emphasizing, which is so exciting. It's been a really rewarding career. I've loved counseling with people, helping them make profound changes to their whole lives, and they're always inspiring to me as well. Oh, my experience in creating the business plan and marketing plan has been quite bumpy, I would say, because I didn't really, with my nutrition consulting business, do a business plan per se. I'll be honest, I just jumped into it when I finished my training, and I was also a yoga instructor and blended the two, and it was a wonderful career, and it still is part of my career. But I learned to do the business plan. Actually, I learned to even do a business plan canvas when I took a course at Simon Fraser University in community economic development, and that was really beneficial. So I did some online business training with the Forum for Women's Entrepreneurship and the Women's Enterprise Center, and they were fabulous. I've really learned a lot from those online courses. Some of them were free, some of them were, $50 or $100, and they were very beneficial. Yes, I know my cost of goods sold. Yeah, I definitely have a handle on that, and know why that's such an important part of figuring out your margins and what your retail cost is going to be. So your cost of goods sold is your ingredients. In my case, it's my ingredients, it's my packaging, my labeling, storage costs, and co-packing costs. Well, in order to figure out your margin and to figure out what your profit margin is going to be, you have to know what your product will sell for in the stores or online. And so, yes, it's an extremely important part of figuring it out and knowing whether it's going to be a viable business. Right. First of all, I know that the celiac community, while it's growing because more and more people are being diagnosed, is not the full market for my product because it's a plant-based, it's a whole food plant-based product, which there are far more people eating a whole food plant-based diet now than there is a celiac safe diet or even gluten-free market. But so really I have both those markets, and I'm not certified yet. My product hasn't been certified as a celiac safe product yet, but that is a goal down the road so that people will see the symbol and know immediately that it is celiac safe. I started out renting a commercial kitchen and just packing my own mixes when I did market research, and that was great. And then I went to a co-packer, which has been also really great. They've worked with me and done a fantastic job. So I started out when I did the market research, just rented a commercial kitchen and mixed the mixes myself in little craft bags with little homemade labels. And when I knew that that was, that it was going to be a viable business, then I found a co-packer, which was challenging because I had to find a co-packer that was a celiac safe co-packer that didn't have any other products that weren't gluten-free that would have cross-contaminated ingredients. So once I found them, they were fantastic. They've worked with me and been fantastic. However, the challenge is sometimes I want to put in an order and they're 2 months behind or 3 months behind, and so then that means I'm out of product for quite a while. And so that's the timing element of that is really, I find, a challenge. So because the other thing is that my ingredients, being whole food ingredients, are fresh and freshly ground grains and seeds and nuts and spices, and I want them to stay fresh and not be made so far in advance that they're sitting and becoming stale. So that creates another element of challenge that would be addressed with my own facility. Yes, right now I have my product in some stores across the Okanagan, as well as the Lower Mainland and Vancouver Island. There's a store in Victoria. It's called the Waffle Beast, and they create freshly baked waffles, and they use I provide them with bulk gluten-free vegan pancake mix. There's also going to be very shortly a zero waste store opening in Kelowna called Farm Bound Zero Waste, and they are going to they've asked me to provide them with at least pancake mix and probably the other ones in bulk, which will be great because then there won't be any packaging. People bring in their own jars or bags and fill them up, and so that's wonderful because that's one of my values. Besides, making sure that I'm using as many local ingredients, I also just love the idea of having either compostable packaging or no packaging. To date, the way that I've funded the business is in the very beginning with the market research, I used my own, a little bit of my own savings. However, I didn't have the means to be able to go very far with that, and so I was able to, some friends offered a loan to me, and so generous friends funded or offered a loan so that I was able to keep going, and now I'm at a point where I don't know what's next. I need funding to be able to grow. Well, I mean, any kind of grants that help support women in business will be fantastic. Anything that helps us access capital and be able to grow our businesses everything would be beneficial. I would love to be able to access funding from the grants through the Small Scale Food Processors Association to be able to open my own facility my own production facility, because I could employ local people and have quality control over the freshness of my product, but I need support and help to be able to access that funding.